talk about schedules, okay? So we're not talking about schedules if you are a mom and you have this person at this date and that person at that date, or you're not a mom and you have a schedule. I have a 10 o'clock meeting, I need to meet this person for lunch, I need to pick up this thing. So schedule. In film, just like a call sheet and a script, which I talked about as well, after you get those things, you also get something that's called a schedule or a one-liner, okay? All right, so this is what it looks like, all right? They're normally colorful. And what a one-liner is, or a schedule, using interchangeably, is an advanced idea of what you're going to do for that particular movie day by day. It normally has on it the date that you're going to shoot it, if you have a day off, if you don't have a day off, what that day is, if it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and a little bit brief explanation of what we're going to do on those days as well. So when I talked about a call sheet way back on one video, right? Okay, so see how that call sheet keeps coming back important? How did they get that information from a call sheet? They have something that's called a one-liner that we work together with. So from that one-liner on the call sheet, that little section right here that says what we're doing that day, they have an idea of it from time in advance on your one-liner. This is how you read a one-liner, all right? Okay? So the first thing that's going to happen is you'll have the first page of a one-liner. These are my notes. Remember I said I really gave you notes for films. I wasn't lying about that. Those are my real notes about what I've read as well. So what it is you will have a cast member, and like I said, they'll have the character name and they'll have a number next to it as well. So that's where they get the numbers from. So you have the cast, the character name, and the number that's underneath it. Again, that number 1 means that that's the main important person in that film. And then the numbers can also go up to 174, 143. The higher the number, the less amount of roles you play in the film. Doesn't mean you're not important, it just means you don't work as often. If it's a number that starts like 101 or 100, those are stunts. So if you have a stunt person come in and that the numbers are always like in the hundreds. It's normally 101, 102, 103, 104, something like that. Sometimes you have to do the stunt person's makeup and sometimes you don't have to do the stunt person's makeup. It depends on what they're seeing in the stunts. So a lot of times there's a guy that stunts for girls or girls that stunts for guys. So the hair person sometimes has to put a wig on if they're going to do it from the back and those things as well. If you can see a stunt person, you have not done your job as a camera person and you have not done your job as a hair and makeup people. The whole point of it is to cheat to make it look like that other person, the actual actor, did it as well. So not always do I have to do makeup for a stunt person. It just depends. I did one really big movie and one of the main actors was tattooed from the neck all the way down to their toes. I'm not exaggerating, including their hands and their arms. And the wardrobe person decided to put them in a V-neck shirt and short sleeve shirts as well. And the director and the AD were like, we're never going to see his tattoos. It's going to be really far away, because I would have to double that real actor's real tattoo. Again, he was tattooed from his neck all the way to his toes, including his hands and his fingers. So for both sides and his palms. So morning of, coming to the makeup trailer, my first AD says to me, hey Shannon, do you want coffee? They know I don't drink coffee, that means you want something. So we need you to do tattoos for the stunt person. We'll give you as much time as you need, all right? And we'll get you an extra person to come in. So I took a big deep girl breath. I went to my main actor. I took every picture you possibly can get of everyone that he had. I had them print them out for me. I had a map on my makeup mirror to explain what went where. And I had to hand draw each individual tattoo on this stunt person, because we had to recreate what the actual actor had as well, so that he could do all these stunts back to back and you wouldn't be able to see him from far away. We did that for 2 days. They never used a stunt person. I was really happy for me though. They looked really nice. It took 3 hours with 2 people. Cause I mean, when I tell you I was so happy they didn't decide to put him in, like, you know, bathing shorts and his shirt was out, because then I really it would have been an all-day process. Unlike ourselves where we read down, okay, one-liners you read up. The first time I read a one-liner back in college, I got it wrong. And I didn't understand why we were doing certain things on certain days. And then somebody had to explain to me, Shannon, because you're reading it wrong. So again, it'll have the pages of dialogue that we're going to do, the scenes that we're doing. If it's an EX, means exterior day, means we're going to be outside, in the real outside, in the daytime, okay? And daytime can be starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, or it can start at you know, 7 o'clock at night, but let's say depending on the time of year, if it's still sunlight outside at 7 o'clock, then it'll say daytime. It'll say a brief description of where we're going to be at and what the scene is about, and then how many actors are going to be in that particular scene. So actors, just like I said on that first sheet, it has numbers. So I have 4 numbers there as well. So those numbers are going to be how many principal actors are in it. Now your one-liner will not have your background people on it, okay? All right, so if it says party scene, because sometimes they'll give you a little description that says party scene, know that party scenes are probably going to have background people. If it says hospital scene, know that it's probably going to have background people in it. If it says exterior day park scene, you're probably going to have people walking back and forth, but those people will not be on your one-liner. And it'll go down from scene by scene by scene by scene. So what do I do as the makeup artist when I look at the one-liner to know what's happening? I say, okay, this particular day, I only have 4 actors that are working all day long. So even though this scene, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenes that are working at the same day, number 1 is working in 1, 2, 3, 4. She's working in 4 of those scenes. All right, she's not going to be working in that last scene. My number 2 is working in 3 scenes, and number 3 is working in 3 scenes as well. Now my number 4 is only working in 1 scene. So why do I need to know that? I need to know how many people need to be working that day. Do I need to bring in an extra person? What the intensity is and what the intensity isn't. So let's go down to day 3, right? Because that day 3 is a really, really long day. So on day 3, as it is, so far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 actors working. Actually, nope, because I got another sheet. Oh, because I didn't read it right. Yeah, I still have 11 actors. Okay. I have 11 actors working that day. Well, it's not possible for Shannon to do 11 actors by herself. I know that I am magical, but I am not that magical. All right. So on those days as well, I need to, and the first 3 scenes, I have at least 6 people in all of those scenes. So that means that I need to have an additional person to come in and help me work that day, because I'm going to need the help for that to happen. And it says exterior basement supermarket. Supermarket probably means what? There's going to be background people, because in a supermarket I'm going to have cashiers, I'm going to have a manager, I'm going to have other patrons there as well. So in addition to my 4 people that are working in that particular supermarket scene, I need to also make sure that I have another person that's coming in and help me look at background, or I need to look at background people at the same way as well. So you want to pay attention to your one-liner and to your schedule. And again, they send it to you in advance, and they normally let you know that this is a pre-schedule. It's subject to change. It changes all the time. It changes sometimes up until the day before you're shooting, and then it changes while you're shooting. So just like I said, that script can be the rainbow script in it, and all of a sudden you have new scenes and those things as well. They'll normally send you a new one-liner as well, because just like your script changed, your now schedule changed and your one-liner changed, so you need to know what you're doing as well. So pay attention to it. You want to read it up, okay? And then if you have a day off, let me see if I find one that says day off. All right, so it does right here. So if it has a day off, it normally has the date on it and it says off, all right, as well. So that means that the 23rd and the 22nd and 23rd I had off. Again, it's subject to change, but if it doesn't change so much and you do have a real life and somebody says, hey, we're going to a cookout thing on, you know, the 23rd, can you come? Oh, I'm not working the 23rd. I might be able to. Let me just check my schedule. You never want to kind of commit to anything, especially since you know that it's subject to change, but it doesn't like randomly you're working and you don't know that you have a day off. If your call times, if they dramatically start getting later in the day as well, film sets are 12-hour standard days, okay? I already said that if you have a pre-call, sometimes you have a 14 or 15-hour day, but it's a 12-hour day. So if your call time is at 10 a.m., that means you're done at 10 o'clock p.m. or 10:30. Just depends on if they don't take your lunch or they take your lunch out or not. You get a half an hour for lunch. So 10 to 10 is like, you know, relatively a normal day as well. And if you're doing interior stuff the whole time, then it doesn't matter. You're doing interior and exterior stuff. But let's say that your call time was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So 2 o'clock in the afternoon are either called splits or called nights. They kind of call them interchangeably. So if it's called a split, that means they split the day. So it means you started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll end at 2 o'clock in the evening. If that's on a Friday, that means that you're going to end at 2 o'clock on a Saturday morning, hence why we call the word Fraturdays, okay? Because you worked Friday into Saturday. And if it's a true night, it means your call time was like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. all right, okay, which all happens. And that means that if that was on a Friday and you started at 8 o'clock at night, that means you're going to be done at 8 a.m. on Saturday. Saturday goes into Sunday. And you discuss if it's something you want to do. And the reason why they do that, they'll be like, well, your call time on Monday is going to be really, really late, so you'll be good. I hate that, because that means all week long we're going to have late call times. I'm not a nighttime person. If you're a nighttime person, then you love it. I'm not the best nighttime person in my real life. So that's important. But it'll normally tell you on here. Some call times will let you know estimated or approximate time as well. Not call time. Some schedules or one-liners will do that as well. Not all of them do. And it also has on here how many pages that are going to be completely for that particular scene. So even though it says it right here, this day as well, so on day 8 is 6 pages, 6 7/8 of a page. So that's a lot of dialogue we're going to do on one page. Also, when you're reading your schedule, you see how it says exterior urban wasteland, exterior urban wasteland, mini company move, urban wasteland, mini company move. So when it says mini company move, I love how they say mini company move, because it's really not a mini move, because everything needs to move to a different location. And even if it's across the street, because that's what they're like, we're just going across the street. Camera has to move across the street, lights have to move across the street, wardrobe has to move across the street, makeup got to move, everybody got to move across the street. So we should just call it a move, but they just say mini move, all right? So this day we have 2 moves as well, and we're in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different locations. So that's a lot of running around you have to do. This script was a really, really aggressive script. Beautiful movie, aggressive script. I was running. I think I lost weight on this movie because we moved so much. But that's going to be on your call sheet, and it's going to be on your call sheet. It's also going to be on your schedule as well. So you want to be prepared for that, to know that. Also, it might mean that you want to bring an additional person in, even though you may not need an additional person, because, for example, there are only 4 actors working that day, but there's so many moves that I might bring an additional person in so they can cover multiple sets at the same time, so I don't have to move from one place to another place as well. I can set up in another place, so sometimes that's a smart thing as well. But all of that's going to be on your one-liner or your schedule. I'm saying that we're back-to-back because every crew and every production calls it differently, but they're normally colorful. Sometimes they're white, but they're colorful as well, and they change periodically and time to time. The other thing we're going to talk about, that when you get your schedule, is something that are called days out of days, or you'll see something, you'll see an email that says DODs. Okay, so DODs means days out of days. So they'll hand you this, and then they'll hand you that, or they'll email it to you, and they go hand in hand. So what days out of days are is that, again, each actor has this one has hundreds on it. So remember how I said, it even says stunt coordinator. I wasn't lying about that, people. Okay, so each character is established with a name, and each character is established with a number. So it says friend number 1, friend number 2. That's their real character name. So if you look at the end of the movie, you'll see in the credits, friend 1, Shannon Thompson, because my real name in the script was friend 1. Police officer with beard, that will actually be in it. So this is where that comes from. So it'll have the actual number, it'll have your character name, and it'll say the day of the week, and it'll have the actual dates of it, and then it'll have the actual day as well, and then it'll have lingo that I'm going to explain. So it'll have either a W, a WF, a SW, a PFW. Okay, so what does that mean? W means work. Okay, all right. SW means start work, means it's the first day that they're working. Doesn't mean that's the only day that they're going to work. Okay, and if it says FW, or WF, it means work and finish. So this person worked that day, and then they worked and finished that day as well, okay? And this particular week, this person started this day, and they ended that day, because it says SW, and the next day after that says WF. So start work, work, finish. And then it has a cheat sheet. How many total days are that person's working? So instead of you going through each individual page and figuring out what day work and what day they don't work, they'll tell you that as well. So this particular character is working 15 days. This script was only 15 days. The film was only 15 days, so she worked what? Every single day. Because she was what? Number 1 on that call sheet. So 15 days, this actor only worked 2 days, and this actor only worked 1 day, so that's on your days out of days as well. And then it says hold days. So hold days are days that they don't actually work, but they're on hold. So just in case they get to a scene that they want them to be in, they're going to put them on hold, or they're going to hold them because they don't want them to leave town, and just in case they come back to something or they don't get something. So hold days are just in case days. So if you're an actor and they're on hold, they can call you into work. So don't go to New York or go to another place and be like, oh, I went to my cousin's funeral, or I went to this person. Let people know, hey, I'm on hold, but I have something I need to do. I was on a film where an actress was on hold, and she got called to go and do an event. She left and took the event and didn't tell anybody, and then they called her into work and nobody could find her because she was in another state. All right, it all worked out. However, that's not something that you want to do. We were able to move the schedule around. And if there's a holiday, then I'll say a holiday on there as well. Sometimes you work on holidays, sometimes you don't work on holidays, so that's why they'll let you know. And if it's a holiday, they'll say Christmas, Thanksgiving, so forth and so on, and it'll have a number there. If the number is there, that means that they're working that particular day and what holiday it is. So you'll get a day out of days for your main characters, and a lot of times you'll also get a day out of days for your background people. So even though you don't know who the background people are because they change every day, they'll say this particular, we're going to have, you know, let's say that the movie that I talked about in one video, this hypothetical movie about a shelter and a boy. Let's say that he's at the shelter, you know, 18 days in this particular film. Well, 18 days, you're going to probably see maybe the same type of characters in those things as well. So on my days out of days, it'll say shelter scenes, 30 background people on that particular day. It may say, you know, homeless youth number 1, homeless youth number 2, social worker, and those things as well. So you'll get a day out of days, and it'll say DODs. So all the paperwork that you'll get are a one-liner on your schedule. You'll get a day out of days, you'll get a call sheet, and you'll get a script. Not all in the same order, but those are emails that are come through. Your days out of days also change if an actor can't work a day, there's a conflict, or your schedule changes. So when your schedule changes, your days out of days change, your script changes. So all of those are super, super important things that you should need to pay attention to and have paperwork for. So the last thing that I'm going to say about paperwork is when you're working in film, there are 2 levels that I talked about before, which is your department head and your key makeup artist, okay? So your department head is in charge of 1, running the department, 2, hiring people, making sure that your actor's okay, working with the director and the producer, so forth and so on. Also getting the schedule and days out of days. But your key makeup artist is in charge of maintaining that schedule, making sure that everything's on point, and understanding all the paperwork that I talked about, your script. So your key makeup artist still has to read the script. They have to understand the one-liner. They need to understand the days out of days. So in addition to all the makeup stuff that you do, you're super, super, super important of paying attention and being on top of that paperwork as well. So don't look at the key makeup artist position as, well, I'm not the person that's 100% in charge. I'm not the department head, so I don't need to pay attention to that stuff as much. Actually, your job is to pay attention to it a little bit more than the department head has to pay attention to it, even though she or he is paying attention to it, because you need to make sure that y'all are on the same page and cover the stuff that they didn't cover. So if that email comes out of a new schedule and the department head is doing something else and she's not able or he's not able to look at it, you as the key makeup artist needs to look at it and maybe bring some of the things to that person's attention if they haven't even brought it to your attention. You're a team and you want to work together, okay? And you as the key makeup artist is also in charge of hiring the additional makeup artists that you need for those background people, or if not hiring them, suggesting who to hire. So you need to know who's on that schedule, paying attention to that call sheet, understanding the days out of days, so that you can say, hey, you know, on Thursday we got 25 background people coming in, and you know it's a high class party scene, so do you want me to call the, you know, casting person and make sure that they are coming in the way that we need them to come in? Yeah, hey, I know this other makeup artist that can come in and cover those particular people. Do you want me to call her or him and give them that information, or do you want to do that? So it's super, super important, just as a department head, but specifically as that key makeup artist, to cover and make sure that everything is taken care of and paying attention to paperwork. I know that it's not the glamorous part of makeup, and it's also not the most glamorous part of television and film, but it's crucial and super important. It's what makes people that have awards and people that don't have awards, the reason why they get them together is because they're paying attention to small little details and things that aren't necessarily makeup related.